Welcome to Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen to and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you sort through mountains of new music. We go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
Blynd Submyshynz.
Hey everybody, we are back in the virtual studio for the first time in a minute to record just a normal ass Zoom episode.
I know, crazy.
We ate hot sauce and shit.
Some people were saying they really liked seeing us out of the studio.
Yeah, well, I think it was fun too.
One person.
Some people. Steve said that.
Steve said that. No, it wasn't Steve, but I don't know who Steve is. But you know,
I just
it was actually really fun.
Yeah,
I really liked doing that episode, even though it really hurt, especially the next day.
That, and then Carl in the studio.
Carl in the studio.
Definitely looking forward to more in-person guests, and we will definitely start hooking that up.
Yes, exactly.
All right. By the time you hear this, we will have already selected the winner of the contest to win the two Germ records.
That's right.
So fucking, I guess maybe you won or maybe you didn't. Congratulations or sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you you still have, you don't have time to enter. Never mind.
No, there is no time. If you haven't entered already.
If you haven't entered, you're fucked. Sorry.
Unless you have a particular DeLorean.
Yes.
That can go back in time.
88 miles per hour.
Yeah. All right. Who do we got today? Let's get
to
it.
What a coincidence.
What?
Because we have the person whose label put out that Germ record.
Indeed.
Holy shit.
And how have we not had him already?
I don't know. I guess schedules just did not align, but they finally did. So we have Todd Severin, who is the founder and, well, I think one of the founders. I think there was actually 2 or 3 founders of Ripple Records.
Ripple Music.
Ripple Music. Ripple
yeah,
Music.
Pope and Todd started it together.
Yes, and so Todd is one of the co-founders of Ripple Music and also the sub-label Rebel Wave Records. We've actually really enjoyed a lot of the Rebel Wave releases that we've had submitted to us on the show. And the Ripple, of course, you know.
Surprise.
But I love psychedelic. I love that garage and that psychedelic rock, and so like the Rebel Waves really like screams to me.
All right, well, let's just get him in here.
Yeah, let's get him in here.
We can talk about it. And ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't decide if we should play him in with something. There's too many Ripple things to choose from.
There's way too many to choose from.
But we'll just bring him in. And he's appearing on the screen. And that's the nice thing about playing the music that hadn't really occurred to me. Oh,
Todd!
There he is.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the Bald Old Man's Club.
Yeah.
Where we talk about facial hair and no hair on top.
Gray facial hair.
I'm going to fit right in.
I just looked up at the screen and I was like, shit.
Yeah. Well, at least you're wearing a hat.
You could do a merge of all 3 of us and see what kind of strange person you come up with.
Exactly.
So how you doing? We said in the intro this is like a long time coming, but how has life been over the last, God, I don't know when the last time I talked to you was, but it's been a couple years.
Oh, it's been pre-pandemic for sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, crazy. We've managed to survive all the craziness that's been going on around us, and I would like to think that emerging stronger on the other side. I don't know if the whole world's going to agree with that, or even this whole country is going to agree with that. But
yeah.
But personally, we're getting through it all pretty well.
Yeah, power to the people who have the luxury or figure out how to come out stronger on the other side. I mean, things seem so dire for so many aspects of DIY music for a while, venues and bands and service jobs, and I mean, it's such a concentrated impact on this specific group of people that it was like, at times you're just like, God, how is this ever gonna be back? If you run a venue that has 150 people and a little stage, and relies on the kindness and generosity of people in the scene to support it, but new people will rise. I mean, we talked multiple times like, hey, if there's a struggling venue, maybe that's the direction that we go someday. once we're out of this and shows get going again, so things will be reborn.
Well, it seems like the rebirth is happening pretty well right now. It's nice, for our area. It was really great to see that the Parkside survived and Bottom of the Hill survived. I was worried about them.
Oh man.
I did purchase my Bottom of the Hill T-shirt during the
So did
lockdown.
I. Which one did you get?
I got the purple one.
Oh, nice, nice.
We have a pair of St. Vitus T-shirts, although I think they were probably in good shape
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
They survived.
Yes.
But
No,
no,
you-
for sure. I was really worried about Bottom of the Hill and the Parkside. I mean, those
Two of my
places
favorites.
are so important to this whole Bay Area scene.
Right. And I'm worried about them even forgetting the pandemic because, the gentrification sprawl in that area is getting
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to talk to anyone at the Parkside for 5 minutes for them to start complaining about how they used to have regular bus stops in front of the venue, and real people would get in and out and go into the bar that were then replaced with private bus stops for tech buses.
Tech buses.
Right.
And then those
Right.
assholes would invade on their way to and from work, but not come into the bar or spend any money. Or
Yeah, I'm one of those assholes.
yeah, you are. You
I mean, I work in tech. I wouldn't call myself an asshole.
and you
hopefully,
rode
but
you rode the train
yeah, and I rode the train. I
like a
didn't ride the
normal
bus.
human.
It is funny because there were times where when I would go in, it was like pre-pandemic, and there was, you saw that happen. Like I would go, I went, I think we went early once for a show, or I went over maybe after work to meet somebody for a beer, and it was like I walk into the Parkside, and it was after work, and the after work crowd there, a lot different than the show crowd at
Show
night.
crowd.
Right.
I'm
That's
like,
funny.
who are these people, and where do
Right.
they go at night?
Well, as soon as the music starts, they leave pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They flee. Yes.
Exactly.
And so how has the label managed all of this vinyl shortage insanity and long delays? And I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Buddy and I have been talking a lot about it, but you have a
Right.
much bigger operation.
Yes.
I'm curious to see what it's been like for you.
Well, purely on the label point of view, the pandemic just kept throwing you one thing after another. We did have a 2-year anniversary show that was booked for the brick and mortar
I know.
for June of 2020, which we did have to cancel. I think I said 2-year. I meant a 2-day. It was our 10-year anniversary show, and right around then in June of 2020 is when the vinyl delay started kicking in. It took a little while before we knew what was going on. The supply chain issues didn't start off right away. So we were on schedule for a long time. I billed in about 4 months for my vinyl pressing, even when we were on the best of times, when it would take, approximately 8 to 10 weeks to get a vinyl record pressed. I still had a 4-month built-in window to get those records done. But that time got eaten up pretty quickly.
Yeah, that
It
goes
gave
way
me a
fast.
period of grace. I was hearing about these vinyl pressing delays before I was experiencing them. But once it kicked in, it was brutal because that 4-month went to 8 months immediately. I'm still right now looking at records that were released in January of 2022, and the vinyl hasn't come in yet.
Wow.
And then another thing to factor into this whole equation, when you're just talking about the pandemic in general, is that for a long time when retail was shut down, our distribution got slashed tremendously, by about 2/3 really, because nobody was going to the record stores weren't ordering products. So you had always one challenge kind of following after another. But what I found is the scene is so supportive and so cohesive, and they're so dedicated to the music that each challenge that happened, just the support structure and the solution all just emerged on its own.
Yeah.
So, when distribution shut down, our direct sales, more than tripled. So in the end, our sales actually increased during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
When vinyl shut down really became a problem, the first decision to make was, well, do I delay my releases until I can get it back on time with the vinyl? Or do I keep going forward and just let the vinyl catch up when the vinyl's ready? And, like you said, Jeff, my production schedule is kind of planned almost a year in advance anyway. So if I'm going to put everything on hold for 4 to 6 months, that's going to take a project and push it way, way, way out.
Yeah.
And that's not right for the bands. It's not right for the fans. So I didn't want to do that. So I just kept a lot of communication going with the people who support Ripple, let them know the vinyl would come when it comes.
Yeah.
And we just pushed forward. We had CDs ready. We did digital ready. I let all of our bands communicate with cassette labels so they can get cassettes made, so they had products for them. And then, you know, the vinyl eventually started catching up, and the fans supported
great.
it.
Yeah.
You know what? And to me, it's sort of like, it feels like Christmas in a way, because like, I mean, to be honest, I got maybe a couple weeks back, I got the Mother Iron Horse album, and I'm like, I totally forgot I ordered this. This is awesome. It's like Christmas Day. You know, like,
You probably ordered that in September for a November release that you
Yeah,
got in
exactly.
May.
Probably.
yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So it's a nice surprise.
I do feel like I did not see a lot of people saying, "Where's my goddamn vinyl?" You know, I think there was a high level of awareness in the scene that like everybody was doing their best, and we certainly didn't get a lot of complaints at Glory or Death about anything that got pushed. It was just like, "Hey, thanks for doing this. This is probably really hard on you. Like, we're here."
Yeah,
So,
totally. There were people who would ask, but an inquiry is pleasant. It's like, hey man, just wondering how this record's going. Do you have a release date, sort of thing? And you know, if you have a projected date, you give it to them. If you don't, you just don't. I would think that over the entire, so it really hit us around July of 2021. I said 2020 before, I meant 2021. So from July till now, we probably only had about 2 or 3 people actually cancel an order.
Oh wow,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
just say, you know, I'm tired of waiting for this. Yeah, okay,
awesome.
nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because you mentioned the 10-year anniversary show, and I think that actually might have been the last time I saw you. Was we were at the Parkside, and you were talking about organizing that 10-year anniversary show.
You know, I think that probably was for the Lowcaster show when Susie came up on stage.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, that was a great show.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And
That's so crazy.
So I got and Buddy saw a little bit of it, the Bandcamp Friday effect. But when you have the kind of catalog that you have listed on Bandcamp, what does a Bandcamp Friday really look like for you guys in terms of spike in volume of orders? Is it as insane as I expect it might be?
Yeah.
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 It was so cool of them to do that.
Oh, it was the scene supporting the scene. You know, and you're right, Bandcamp didn't have to do it, and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can make an argument that, you know, the economy has recovered enough that it's not really their responsibility to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But they're still doing it.
And they got Epic Games money now.
Yeah.
You know,
they
really
do.
Right.
They really don't have to do it.
That caused a little stir amongst you know, the people. What is it going to mean?
I got counter arguments all day.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Know, like, has that, I mean, as a label owner on Bandcamp, do they communicate anything to you about what that does mean?
No,
and the potential, no.
Just
they sent out a very nice letter that pretty much just said, you know, we have all this extra support. We're going to be able to roll out new features for you. They never said anything about fee structures changing or helping us changing or anything that would be a negative.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, Bandcamp, they do it right.
Yeah, my immediate take was, because I'm deeply immersed in gaming and know Epic really well and what it is that they do, was that this is actually a weirdly perfect fit, because their whole business model is about supporting a marketplace ecosystem, whether that's for in-game assets in Fortnite, but mostly for the Unreal Engine, which is a huge developer community that builds assets for making video games and movies. Like, there isn't a movie or a TV show with a bunch of digital effects made today that doesn't use the Unreal Engine. And a lot of the components is individual creators making skins and models and uploading them and selling them through the Epic Game Store. So this like Etsy digital model is very familiar to them, and they've always been super creator friendly. So I feel like it was a really good move. And, you know, if I have complaints about Bandcamp, they're all on the web development side. Right, they're all on the quality of the site, the technology, the back end, and I think that's where they get real support from Epic. That it's probably expensive to do on their own. So I don't know. I felt good about it, but we'll see. You know, it could always turn to shit.
You know, anything can turn to shit. But you know, they've just recently rolled out this new feature where you can do live streaming of a concert or such through Bandcamp.
Yeah,
and that's genius. It's a great way to engage your audience through a site that they're familiar with.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah, it really is.
create a merch environment during the stream itself so that you can buy things that are exclusive that you can only get. We were on a bunch of the streams. 2 Minutes to Late Night did some of the very first ones, and they were great. It was really cool to be able to just enable bands to do streaming shows and sell, unique merch during the shows. It was a cool idea. They very much. I mean, look, this podcast sort of exists because of them. One of these days we'll get one of those guys on here, hopefully.
One of these days.
But no, we're very much pro Bandcamp still.
So back up. Why does this podcast exist? Because of them?
Because we just keep discovering. Once you get in, then you start getting suggestions and go down rabbit holes, and there's just so much great music on Bandcamp that at some point it gets overwhelming, and you can't listen to all of it. And you're presented with things that you would never be presented with if you're using Spotify or Amazon Music as your primary
Absolutely.
player. They're just opening up the underground to you.
It's like it's like you're part of the local scene in every local scene. So you get to discover these bands that you would never discover otherwise.
I mean, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, because I'm pulling something up, and then.
There's a few things just right off the top. You talk about the suggestions, and if you like this band sort of thing, but they also have an incredible editorial content.
Yes.
And they write some amazing articles about the best. We had the best South American psychedelic rock that they put up, which they featured 10 bands, and one of them became a band that we signed to the Rebel Waves label, which is, and we got them because of that. That's how we even knew that this band existed.
Which band was that?
That was Los Robertas from Costa Rica.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, I know you like Rebel Waves. I love you.
I do.
Los Robertas is amazing, and Bucky found that article, sent it to me. My wife read it, played Los Robertas, and came to me and said, okay, we need to start a label and sign bands like this. And I said, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things we do is we listen to submissions, but on most shows, we'll actually dig into the Bandcamp Daily and pull up one of those articles that they're featuring and sort of talk about how they're contributing so much more than just providing a marketplace for music. They're better editorial content than I think anyone in music right now. And
that's insane.
I pulled this up today because there are so many connections to the podcast. So the featured album on Bandcamp Daily is Moontooth's Phototrope. Moontooth was the other reason we started this podcast, because I got served one of their songs and I went, who the hell is this? This is the greatest band on earth.
How have I never heard this?
Why do I not know who they are?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we recorded the first episode and talked about them. And then we reached out to their singer and brought him on as a guest. And now John's been on twice and has become a good friend. And here they are. They have a record coming out tomorrow, and it's the album of the day on Bandcamp.
Well, that is a perfect circular statement right there, isn't it? It all comes right back around.
Yeah. And then you go 5 articles down, and you get Dre Genevieve from Psychic Hit featured, in an article that goes through her whole musical background.
Yeah,
she was guest number 7, I think.
Yeah.
So but then all of this really crazy Native American black metal explored.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to know about
you
this.
said, you get to explore scenes in different areas. So you got this, psychedelic scene in Costa Rica,
right?
And it's you would never discover that otherwise.
Oh yeah, we did half an episode on all of the bands that came in the wake of Goblin in Italy. Yeah. all the prog bands that came in. I forget what the name of that whole movement is, but it was just where else am I going to read about that and then go and listen to 8 Italian prog bands?
Yeah. Well, actually, I got to be honest with you. I'm really interested right now to find out the Native American history through death metal.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right.
I want to know what that article's about.
We'll forget one of the bands that we've got submissions for, and we'll dive into that, because I know I saw that and I'm like, that wasn't here yesterday when I put together the agenda.
So this is a question for you. We found this band Moontooth. We pushed them hard on the show because we love them. Have you ever heard them or listened to them?
I have not.
Oh, see, this is a band I feel like if you had come across this, you would go, whoa, wait, what?
Wait, what?
Someone's doing it. So what would you play off the new record? The Conduit?
What would I play?
Yeah, if we were going to pick one of the...
Maybe the Conduit, although, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. No, yeah, probably.
I like the album art. That's pretty cool.
Oh, he's not going to be able to hear that. You got to play it.
Yeah, I have to play it.
I can hear it.
How's it sound on your side?
Sounds great. It's fantastic. No, but they take like, everything. I feel like everything that's happened in like progressive rock and metal in the last 20 years, and then lay this like soulful growl vocal on top of it in a way that doesn't sound like it should make sense, but it makes the most sense in the world. If you want to pull up something.
Yeah. Well, somebody there was an article the other day that compared them. They said like influences of Tool and Otis Redding.
Well, that was from John's interview.
Nice.
John did an interview in Revolver, and he said like, I love Tool and I love Otis Redding. I'm not saying I sound like Otis Redding, but like that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But and that vibe comes through.
Yeah.
That's cool.
In different ways, shapes and forms. Yeah, these guys are crushing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then the purpose of your show to introduce me to new music is being accomplished already.
There we go. Yeah, we do a lot of that.
I'll probably wind
too.
up buying the record.
Exactly. Should we do Conduit?
Yeah.
Conduit? Okay.
Nice.
Such a good song.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, Nick, the guitar player, is like one of this new wave of just like epic pushing the boundaries of guitar shredding. So you'll get through that song and then it'll just be like an epic solo tacked onto it, completely at random. They're amazing.
I love it. I love the dynamics, and I love the fearlessness to break it down the way they just did there at the end.
Yeah, completely, right? I know.
Yeah.
And this is
I
like
love this comment right here. This rocks my world at the moment, and it makes me happy. And what else could you say?
Yeah. It's funny, too, because, I mean, when we were first listening to them before we started the podcast, we were out on my patio, like, making pizza, and we cranked this. Not this album. It was an earlier album. But I just couldn't stop smiling. Like, I was just so fucking happy at what I was hearing. I was just like, this is just so good, you know? Like, yeah.
I love it when you find brand new music that can just get right into you that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because, the one thing that I'm not liking about music right now is too much of the fifth retread of the third reiteration of the same riff, which is already 50 years old.
Yep.
And I mean, I love it because because you love it, because the basic riff's in your DNA by now.
Yeah.
But you got to do something. You got to find a way to freshen it up. You got to do something new.
Team, Todd.
Yep.
You don't know how many times we've heard music where it's just like, oh God, okay, this is what you're doing. Okay, well, if you're going to commit to doing this, like High on Fire worship or whatever, Sabbath worship, it better be the best fucking service I've ever been to in my entire life, because otherwise, what's the point? Like, execution becomes so critical because the ideas aren't new. So it's just like, okay. And I've never been a fan. I've never been like a straight genre recreation fan. As much as I love Trevor from Haunt, like that whole thing's not for me. Clearly, it's for somebody, because he's doing great, but I want to hear new stuff. I want to hear people pushing in different directions.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't mind the old stuff, but you have to be merging it with new ideas, and you have to be merging with, like, don't just do, if you're going to do it, give me new wave of British heavy metal mixed with some Sabbath, mixed with something else, and then create something out of that, even though it's all kind of retro ideas. Put it together in a way that's new, fresh, and exciting.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, most all of my favorite bands throughout sort of my musical history are all bands that they're like, I want to take this and do this. And you're like,
Right.
yes.
Or even worse, like defy description. Like you can't even say like, these are the elements that they have assembled into their music. It's just like, I don't know what this is, but I like it.
Well, just earlier this week, I asked a question to the Wave Riders group, and I said, give me a dream blending of genres for you. And my suggestion is I wanted to hear what stoner Billy would sound like, because I was driving to work and I was listening to some old school rockabilly, and I go, God, what, how can you do rockabilly and stoner? What would that sound like? And people threw out a bunch of ideas. And I thought it was kind of cool.
You got to slow it down. You got to tune it down. You got to swing it out a little bit, because most of the rockabilly is pretty straight time.
Right.
But you got to throw some groove into it. I can smell it. It's like gasoline and Jack Daniels and weed.
That's awesome. Hot rods.
That's what it smells like.
And a little Brill cream.
So awesome.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Well, that was how one of our favorite bands was formed. Zeal and Ardor was formed when someone threw out on Reddit, when Manuel was on there just doing an AMA, what would you like me to do next? Throw out some genre mashups. And some asshole was like, slave music and black metal. And he's like, oh, that's what you want me to do? Yeah, fuck you, I'll do it. And he went and recorded the greatest debut album in heavy music history by himself in like a period of, in a really short amount of time. And you'll understand this. The first show that band ever played was in the church at Roadburn.
Nice.
Like the first time anyone asked them to perform live. That's not a bad way to debut.
Not a bad way to start.
It's not a bad way to end a career.
No, not at all, right? For most bands, you're on to something when you get asked to do that and you've never played a show before.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's amazing.
And you mentioned that, and for anybody listening, like, you should go check out the Wave Riders group, because it's great. Like that, and also, the Obelisk page.
If you're on Facebook,
if you're on Facebook, they're great.
Yeah.
And it's not. I still have yet to really experience any toxicity in those groups,
Yeah, well, I don't think you could be toxic in the Obelisk group. I mean, JJ is just such a, he's just a big love button,
Yeah.
In fact, you probably noticed, right?
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's why I mentioned it. Yeah, exactly.
Those of us who know and love JJ would just absolutely annihilate anyone who went into that group and caused any trouble at all. I don't think he would have a problem.
It's true.
I couldn't even foresee that happening. Now, in Wave Riders, I can see people getting pissed off at me pretty easily. But fortunately, they tend to be nice. But the thing about the Wave Riders is I try to make sure, and if you're on it, I think you pop on quite a bit, JD.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be about Ripple. I mean, I'll post about Ripple, but I'll spend as much time posting about not Ripple stuff, because it's just a community of people who like music.
Yeah.
And I want it to get expanded that way. I don't want it to be a vinyl group, but I'll show pictures of what I'm working on, because people seem to like that.
Yeah.
We have records. We want to know what record you have, and what is that record good?
I'll tell you. And if you don't, like, if you're skeptical of that as an ethos for Todd, so I was talking to Buddy today, and he said, oh yeah, I'm just putting together a Glory or Death Records sampler CD to include in shipments of Ripple music. So literally letting other labels put comps into the packages that you send out so that people will discover music from other labels. I mean, that's like rubber meets the road there.
That's awesome.
Well, first of all, Buddy's a fantastic guy, as you know.
Yes.
Glory or Death's a kick-ass label. I think it'll be fun. And it's all about, I said it before, it's just all about the scene, just getting the music out there.
Yep.
Fans love it.
Yeah, completely. You mentioned earlier, and I was actually going to ask you about this, because, the rumor was that, it was really like Rebel Wave really started because of your wife. And so I think you just confirmed that, right? Like,
there's
she
no
was like, I love
rumors
this
here at all.
music. Like, it's not a rumor.
No, that's the story.
And of course, it started as Rogue Wave,
Right.
because
Yes.
I wanted sticking with the Ripple theme. This was going to be the Rogue Wave from Ripple.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is that my wife grew up on the peninsula, and she's much more of an urban girl. She grew up R&B.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas I feel very comfortable with Hell's Angels, bearded, tattooed guys.
Yeah.
She used to hang out with the people and the lowriders on the Mission, and that was her crowd.
Gotcha.
So we came from different backgrounds, and so my concept of music isn't exactly her first love.
Yeah.
She's gotten into it. She loves it now, and once she got to meet the band members, that's when she really began to get into it, and she understands the music more. But she came to me, she said, I love what you're doing, but this is really your music, and I can't be that much more involved in it because you're always going to be more a part of it than I am. But what if we had a label we could do together? And I said, sure, honey, that sounds great. And that psychedelic rock is that nexus where we meet together.
Well, and I know you have a really broad musical background and interest. People might pigeonhole to some degree what Ripple puts out, but you listen to much. I mean, I know you listen to much more than that. You spent time as a DJ. You are deeply interested in lots of types of music. So what else are you listening to outside of kind of the Ripple universe of music? What are you hot for right now?
Well, hang on just one second. Let's see what I got
I like
over
it.
here.
What does he have?
Nice.
Yeah.
He's got a back pillow because he's old like us.
Well, these are just I got a freaking stack of records right over here just waiting for me to get to.
Oh man.
So just picked this up today.
All right.
Oh, nice.
Peter
I love
Tosh.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm definitely big into reggae. I always have been. And I was just listening to this. This kind of falls more within my world. Glitter Wizard.
Glitter Wizard.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But still, just picked this one up the other day. Always good for some
Mitch Ryder and the
Ryder.
Detroit Wheels. Oh,
with
that's
little
good
Latin
shit.
loopy loo.
Oh,
Into some old school metal, old school Swedish metal.
Oh, nice. Oh, literally Swedish metal.
Yeah, literally Swedish metal.
Swedish metal.
The band is called Mercy.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Heavy metal records, new wave of British heavy metal, always gonna be one of my first loves.
Yeah.
Because you all have your own epiphany moments in music, right?
Completely.
So
Yep.
like I'm growing up, and in my house it's Simon & Garfunkel, Neil Diamond, Cat Stevens, and Gordon
Yeah.
Lightfoot. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
my parents, and the Hair soundtrack. They were a little bit of a hippie.
A little bit.
And then it was like the first time I heard Kiss Destroyer, it was like, what is this? That's not like anything I'd ever heard before. So that was like a true musical epiphany, which set me on a course. And then the next one was the new wave of British heavy metal came out, because there was a record store in Walnut Creek that was the entry point for a lot of this onto the West Coast. And in fact, I think that's where a lot of the Bay Area thrash bands originally started, by hanging out there. I hung out there. I was not in a thrash band. I was a skinny little high school kid. I didn't even know who these guys were. I don't even know if they were there at the time. I was there for the music.
Yeah.
And I was buying my Sounds and my Enemy, and I was reading all the advertisements, and I'm getting all the 7-inches. So the new wave of British heavy metal was like that next, there's something different going on.
Yeah, I remember Craig from Forbidden talking about that record store
What was it called?
a few times.
I think it was called the Record Outlet. It was on Main Street. It was a fairly decent sized store for being a small store.
Yeah.
But this guy just had everything. I mean, I was in there the day that the first Maiden album came to America and dropped on the rack, and I've been waiting
wow.
for it because I've been
Holy
reading,
cow.
I've been seeing the advertisements, and they just had it all. And they had all the 7-inches. I didn't buy enough of them. In high school, but I bought what I could.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. Digital has totally warped my brain as far as like what you can acquire in music. And by that, I mean, my daughter started college in Eugene. There's a bunch of record stores in Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
And you just think like, oh, go to the record store. They'll have everything. But you can go to a record store that has 0 metal records. Or you can
Yes.
go to a record store that is 60% metal records. And usually they just say record store somewhere on the on the sign, and it's really all about what the people who run that store are into.
Yeah.
And so it's so weird to just see and there's so much recorded music. Like you could literally have any kind of record store, and it could be my favorite place in the world or somewhere that I would need 2 seconds, and then I would just turn around and leave and would have nothing to do there.
And that's part of my problem, alluding to what you said earlier, is that I'm going to go to a record store and I'm going to be into the type of music that record store sells. It's just, like you said, my taste, my personal taste is so broad. So in Hayward, 2 record stores just opened up literally right across the street from each other. Have you guys been out there to check them out yet?
No.
Oh, no.
So one of them, it's these are on B Street, right in downtown Hayward, like right by, if you know where Buffalo Bills is, it's right down the street from Buffalo Bills. One of them is called Ska Dog, and Ska Dog is exactly what it sounds like. It specializes in ska, reggae, and punk. And so I'm in heaven when I'm in there, because I've always been a hardcore reggae guy and old school ska flavored punk, and then there'll be African music in there, and then there will be some rock and roll and other stuff, but basically it's ska, reggae, and punk. And directly across the street, and I don't remember the name of this store, it's all rap and soul. And so when I'm over there, I'm digging through the 70s funk albums, and picking out some early 80s kind of R&B stuff. So I'm in heaven wherever I am.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I went to a record shop in Seattle, and like I listened to a lot of metal, like pretty diverse set of bands. Like I feel like I kind of have the flavor of it. The metal section was big, and I think I knew the names of maybe 4 of the bands.
Wow.
that I flipped through of records.
Right.
I mean, that's how diverse the scene is and how many people are putting music out. But I was blown away. I was just like, I don't know what any of this. Half of them I couldn't even read the band names. But even that I listened to a fair amount of. Yeah. And I was blown away that there was just like they had a metal section and there wasn't a single mainstream record in there at all. I always judge a record shop by how they classify certain bands.
Yes.
Like nice.
Like to me, where do you file your Mastodon records? Says a lot to me about what kind of shop you are. And you can find them in like the generic rock category. You can find them in a, if they have a sludge, if there's like a sludge stoner doom tab, you might get lucky and find them there. Or you could find it. I never know where they're going to be.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, now here's a different question. It's not the type of question we normally talk about. What genre of music will you not be listening to?
Me?
Yeah. I mean, what is that genre that it's on and you're going to walk right past? You're not going to even listen.
Pop country, like modern pop country. I have absolutely no interest in. I think it's just it's like a money making machine. It's like a soulless money machine. I have.
You know what's even worse than that though?
What?
Rap country.
Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know.
It's bad.
I just I'll give anything a chance. I really will, but anything where like you can smell the insincerity of the whole thing like immediately. I'll listen to like Kitty Pop, Taylor Swift. I took my kids to see the Jonas Brothers. We went and saw Katy Perry. These are people that are like seriously invested in what they're doing, and I can listen to any of it and enjoy it. So I'm not.
Well, pop is written to enjoy. It's
correct.
Like, it's supposed to be easy to listen to. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be. I don't hate it.
I don't like opera.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't listen to.
I don't know if I could listen to opera.
I don't listen to a lot of classical music anymore. I went through a period where I listened to a lot of classical, and it was like, okay, I got it, but I'm not. I don't need it on. Yeah. If I want like complex, interesting instrumental music, I'll listen to post metal or post rock or something like that. Mm-hmm. To me, that scratches the same itch as classical music. It's long compositions, complicated instrumentation, like lots of moving parts.
Yeah, no
singing. I'm down for all that.
What about you? A lot of that really is like the modern iteration of what those composers were trying to accomplish then anyways.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you definitely not listen to?
No, you nailed it with your the second you opened your mouth, you nailed it. I cannot listen to what passes as modern country. Outlaw modern country like Sturgill Simpson. I mean that voice.
Oh yeah, he's great stuff.
He's great. That melts me.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything that is just on regular old pop country radio, to me it's it's soulless, like you said. It's generic. It's the worst of corporate rock back from the 70s when people were lambasting corporate rock. But more than anything else, it's just they're not even country songs. They're just bad rock songs.
Yeah.
It's just it's like
I can't do
it's
it.
bad rock or bad pop sang with a twang.
Yeah, and a hat.
So
and a hat.
So there's a podcast that I listen to regularly, and we had one of the hosts on as a guest, Brett Morris, who charted. The third segment, each person on the show puts forth like 2 songs that they're really into right now. And on yesterday's episode, there's a country artist named Doe Eyes, DeauxEyes. It was fucking brilliant. It was so good. And I was like, this is why don't we call this country music? Like, why is all this other nonsense get all the attention? If there are really artists that are this good out there making music that no one's talking about, or you have to listen to an obscure podcast.
I can't remember what it was. There was actually an HBO show that somebody did that came out during the pandemic, and I can't remember what it was, but it was all about music, and they dived into different things, and one of them was sort of that transition of country music and how far country music has not how far it's come,
how far it's
fallen. That it's no longer country music.
Yeah.
But just like rock and roll, that's just what's above ground. I'm sure there is a deep underground, and
there
the beer's
to
so
be.
tall.
Oh, there totally is. I mean, we discovered a guy named Nick Shoulders.
Oh, Nick Shoulders.
On the show that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, he submitted music and it was really great. Yeah,
it's like this underground kind of country, sort of alt country folk artist that was just incredible.
Yeah, he was cool as hell. I forgot about him.
Yeah,
got 80 episodes in. We've listened to 400 bands. Like, there's only a handful that are actively in my memory.
Yeah,
I have to dig back to remember some of them.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I grew up, my dad had a pick. My dad was a cowboy. We grew up riding in a pickup truck, listening to 8 tracks of Crystal Gale and Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and just all of the old country, and it was so good. And that was my, I grew up with that stuff. And then when country changed, I was like, the fuck is this?
Yeah,
this sucks.
Well, I don't know.
Where's the country in my country?
I don't know who said it, but one of the big sort of alt or new outlaw country artists said, don't you remember that this music was all about running from the cops?
Yeah.
I was like, but I watched the Dukes of Hazzard.
I watched the Dukes of Hazzard.
I remember.
Yeah.
I'll still go back and pull out my Johnny Cash records. I mean,
I love them. And
in fact,
Go ahead.
I was in Reno. This was before shutdown. I was in Reno, and there was had some friends visiting from Australia, and so we were staying at Incline area, but we went into Reno for the night for the show, and there was a Johnny Cash cover artist.
Oh, nice.
And they were really good, and they're really talented. And the highlight for me of that whole show was when some guy came up and stood right next to me who was wearing a Sturgill Simpson shirt. I'm all right. That's what I wanted to see here.
Exactly.
I mean, that guy made an electronic-ish country album that went with an anime. Like, Sturgill's just in a different place than. Didn't he play outside of the last country music, the CMAs or whatever? He had a concert on the street just to fuck with them. I think so. I love that. I love that.
Actually, I think too, in the last few years, there was he collaborated with an anime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was they did a movie that went with that album.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And he's done a lot of production work too. And the bands or the artists he's been working with, they're pretty amazing. I think there's one called, you guys probably know this, Tyler Childress.
Yes, I have heard of Tyler Childress.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sturgill, produced that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Kind of the vein of country that I'll go down. I in no way would I say that I have anything to do with that scene or am trying to propagate that scene, but it was kind of the soulfulness of that type of country that got me when I created, the Blood and Strings Ripple Acoustic series, that I just wanted to go to artists who are, thought of in a certain way and how they make music and what they sound like, and just give them a platform to say, hey, there's no restrictions here. This is, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? And be you. And that's Wino came out and did his.
That was the first
one. And then
right?
Tony Reed was the second one.
Oh,
yeah.
And Tony
the third
Reed's
one's coming.
deep
nice.
credentials in that world too, with what hot spring water or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Tony's such a chameleon because he's like, here's my hardcore album from when I was 19. I mean, you can tell when you just talk to him about music and records, he just lights up. We need to get him on. He's so excited. That's my favorite guest. Mike Scheit was so excited to tell us about all the bands that he loves that he's listening to right now.
I got to be honest with you. The worst conversations I've had about music in my entire life have been with Tony Reed because they always wind up costing me so much money. I mean, I literally, it's like, fuck, I'm on eBay, you know. It's like, okay,
this?
got that one. What?
Yeah.
Okay,
Check
got
this
that
out.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows everything.
He literally knows everything. It's shocking to me.
That's amazing.
I mean, we did the on the Thin Lizzy tribute, we did this sort of collaborative song that Andrea from Holy Grove sang on, and I played bass, and it was like and we called the band Funky Junction because Tony's like, you guys know that Thin Lizzy, you know, the first thing they ever really did was a Deep Purple tribute record, and then they called themselves Funky Junction, and here it is on vinyl. if you're curious about it, and we were
one
like,
of 3 known copies.
Yeah, probably like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But you want to know how bad it is hanging out with Tony Reed? This is not a joke. I'm going to show you. This is how bad it is.
And this stack is from the last time we hung out.
and for people who don't know, Tony Reed is the front man of Moz Generator, who might be the greatest rock and roll band on earth. That finally, Tony in his 50s, finally getting like his propers.
Right. And of course, Stone Axe.
Then Stone Axe, yes.
And now he's with Big Scenic Nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
With other desert rock legends.
Yep.
So he's got the man cave for the ages. It's the whole upstairs above it's probably the equivalent of a 4-car garage. So you go upstairs, and a third of it is his record collection. And then a third of it over here is like the chill area where you just, speakers and couches and like original Kiss posters and all that sort of crap. And then the whole back of it is his recording studio.
Wow.
Two room recording studio. And so the first time I'm there, and the fucker has got like the entire Kiss record collection, but on 8-track. I'm all, well, why the hell don't I have the Kiss record collection on 8-track? So this is what happens.
Oh no, you bought
when you hang out with Tony Reed. You start. I have
Tony.
2 8-track players now, and well, this is Zeppelin. That's okay. This is a beautiful day. San Francisco psychedelic band.
Do you have a quadraphonic reel-to-reel yet?
If Tony does, I'm getting it.
Yeah. Because I inherited one when a good friend of the family passed away, and I dove down the rabbit hole of commercial reel-to-reel players and the records that were released, and there was a short period of time where they were putting out music on quadraphonic using all 4 channels for the music instead of using 2 for forward and 2 for backward, so you could play it and then just play it again in reverse without having to rewind all the tape. They quickly decided, this is annoying, let's just print it on both sides and listen to it forwards and backwards. And supposedly some of those are some of the best fidelity recordings of any records that you can get anywhere. So like original Zeppelin recordings, Black Sabbath on quadraphonic reel-to-reel.
Interesting.
I'll bug Tony about it because I guarantee you he's got one.
Probably.
And I have one now too, and I don't know what to do with it. So
You do? You have one?
Yeah, I inherited a record collection where we've done a couple episodes where we went through Pop's old records.
Yep.
I inherited a bitchin' set of vintage Pioneer receiver and clip speakers that are in perfect working condition. And
are they the bookshelf size clips or the big floor models?
They're like that, yay big-ish,
2
like
feet, 2.5 feet.
Yeah, 2.5 feet tall.
Like around 1980, 79, 80.
Late 70s.
Nice.
Yeah, the receiver's from like 74, but we have the receipt. He bought it used in 78, but it was still like $500. We figured out, this is my brother-in-law's dad, and my brother-in-law has no interest in music, so he's like, I want this to go to somebody who gives a shit. So you take all of this. And it was the most expensive thing he had at that point in his life. That was the most expensive purchase he had ever made. And then shortly after that, he bought a car. But up until then, that receiver that's sitting now in my living room playing records was
so
like
crazy.
Pops like saved. I don't know how long he saved for. It was his biggest investment, and it's still working magically.
And it's probably still worth $500 or more.
Yeah,
the vintage components.
So it wasn't working, and I was a little nervous. So I called one of the local shops, and the guy's like, "Oh, that model's a nightmare. So if it ever truly breaks, I'll tell you, I can fix it, but it's going to cost so much money because the boards are packed in so tight. Just the work to tear it apart is so hard. And I'm going to be replacing stuff that doesn't exist anymore, so it's not going to be the same vintage receiver. Just just take your money and buy another vintage receiver instead of like Frankensteining this thing back together for the memory.
Because it'll just be a vintage shell.
Yeah, it's a vintage walnut shell.
Yeah, it's a good looking walnut shell.
And $1,500 worth of labor, probably. Oh, I opened it up, and you literally can't. But the beauty of old technology is the problem was just grime on the knobs. And he said, unplug it and take every knob and turn it for about 3 minutes. Each knob, just go in order. They're designed to be self-cleaning. If there's corrosion, it'll clean itself off. That's the way they work. And so I did that, and I turned it on, and it worked perfectly.
So funny.
So I was like, all right then. That was nice of him to tell me that, and pretty amazing that it actually worked.
Yeah. Wow.
Man, you're bringing back memories with the Pioneer amp and the Klipsch speakers. And
Yep.
Oh man, you brought back memories with the 8-track. Like,
and that's the thing. I hated 8-tracks in the day. I hated them.
Yeah, that was all I had.
Oh, really?
For a while, I had you know how everybody when there was the transition between tapes and CDs, and you could take in your car tape player and you put in a tape that had a wire that ran out.
Yeah.
So I had sort of the 8-track version. My stereo in my room was an 8-track player that had this giant 8-track thing that you would stick your cassette into, and then you'd put the 8-track into the 8-track player, and it would play your cassette.
Oh my God, that's incredible!
I remember that. Yeah.
So it was awesome, man. I listened to I had my AC/DC cassette and all my Striper.
Oh God! My parents were not into music, so we had a record player in the house and a stack of Neil Diamond, Barbra Streisand, Short People had some Randy Newman, but it was up to me. And I remember buying my first Walkman, and that was when I was like off and running. Was when I bought a Walkman. And actually, I'm gonna do this out of order because it works right now, and you've already showed records too. So one of the very first things I bought. And it's so scary to me that we're at the 40th anniversary, but one of the very first tapes I bought to buy in my tape player for myself was Moving Pictures. And now I have the 40th anniversary box set of Moving Pictures, one of my favorite records of all time.
So what's in the box set?
So you get a fully remastered version of the original record, and then 2 full double live concert recordings that have never been released before.
Is this what we listened to on the way back from Sacramento?
Yes, and it's what we listened to on my record player at home.
All right.
Like live recordings that are absolutely brilliant. And live Rush recordings are like my baby. One of my favorite things in the world, because they were so goddamn good that I actually like some of the live recordings better than the studio records.
Well, and there's no shortage of Rush live albums.
So many. So many.
Are there bootlegged Rush albums out there?
Oh yeah. Tons. Yeah, I don't have any. I purposely decided that I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because there's already too many legitimate live recordings, and that if I start investing in bootlegs, I'm never going to stop. I don't have this, it would be a disaster for me, I think.
I don't
I'd get kicked out.
When you find the bootlegs, because I've seen like people have made vinyl from digital recordings, and then they just make an album that was never released on vinyl, but somehow, how do you do that one record at a time? Or do they actually like make multiples and then sell them all on the black market?
I have no idea. Never bought bootleg vinyl. I think bootleg vinyl probably isn't a thing anymore, but I assume it was a thing once upon a time when there was lots of production capacity but waning interest in vinyl.
Interesting.
But we have someone who might know.
Yeah. The underground story of legendary bootleg record label.
I almost went over backwards in my chair. Todd just
almost like it was set up, but it wasn't. It honestly wasn't. No.
This is this was just one of the many record labels but they actually were bootleg underground labels, and they would plant people in the audience to get the tape of Neil Young or Zeppelin or Who or whatever, and then they would go out and make their pressings, and I think they did several hundred copies.
Wow.
So I'm kind of, I'm not going to say I'm into bootlegs, trust me. And I'm not even saying I know anything about music. I'm a freak, is what it is. But but if I like a band, I just get like a little obsessed, and when their catalog runs out,
you want all of it.
More.
Yeah.
So like I was really into UFO. They were another one of those seminal bands for me that as I transitioned away from Kiss to what other music was out there. And so I have probably like 30 UFO bootlegs on CD.
Oh, okay.
The problem, as I know you guys know, and the reason Jeff has never gone down that rabbit hole, is that the sound quality can be just so mixed.
Yeah, I'll find digital copies and listen, but I'm not a completist in terms of having to buy everything and own it. And now that everybody's digitizing everything and uploading it somewhere, it's a little bit easier to get access to some of this obscure stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm actually going through my UFO
live
bootlegs.
recording.
Yeah, but I'm with you. A good live record. I don't understand people who don't like live records.
I don't get it. My favorite records are live records.
Right. Absolutely. Without a doubt. But you'll find people who don't like live music. Yeah. Are you hiding?
I love
you don't like music, live recordings?
But I don't like live recordings.
Oh. I like to hear.
I know.
I love to hear a little bit of the warts, and then I love to just wow, because I know what it takes to get a particular passage of music down in a studio.
Maybe I've just never heard a really good live recording. Maybe that's it.
We can fix that. But like, I know how much work it took to get La Villa Strangiato recorded in the studio. So when they go and play that live, and they don't have all of the safety nets of the studio, and they actually come anywhere near close to, and in some places even exceed the quality and the energy of the recording, it's just like, fuck, man. How do you do that night after night after night? When I know how many takes it took. They fucking swore off recording songs like that after recording La Villa Strangiato. They said, we're done. We can't do that anymore. It was so taxing. But then we're going to go play it every night live and make it sound good. Like, that's intense to me. And there's so much energy. Like, you don't, depending on how a band records, you don't capture a performance. You don't capture like the energy of a group of people playing a piece of music. You get the drummer laying his tracks, and you get interesting bits of a performance, but there's something magical that happens in a full band performance that I'm fine with the warts.
But that's why I go to shows.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to wait. You can listen to the show at home.
But that's the thing is, when I'm at home, I don't want to listen to the dialogue that the singer is trying to do on stage. I don't want to listen to the crowd cheering. All I want to listen to is the music.
We'll never agree. It's fine. It's fine. What about concert videos?
If you look at a lot of bands catalogs, their best record is their live album. Not all bands. Like, I don't think there's a great live Sabbath record out there. Certainly, I think the Sabbath studio is better, but I keep going back to Kiss. I'm not a huge Kiss fan. Trust me. They were important in my older days, but Kiss Alive is a great rock record.
Yeah.
It's their best album.
Yeah, I don't think Zeppelin ever produced a truly good live record.
No, I agree with you.
Because they weren't consistently good enough to pull it off, which is again why when a band it sets off a signal in my brain that like, oh, this band is different from the other bands. There's no pretend here.
Yeah. And maybe that's
Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy, good record.
That's a great record.
Strangers in the Night by UFO,
great record.
Fucking
great record. Well, and for me it was All the World's a Stage, right? That was
the
record that
all the
broke
bands you guys are mentioning are like from the 70s and 80s. So has there been good live albums since then?
It was kind of a
Or was that just a thing back then?
I think it's a decline. It was a declining trend. I think there was less interest in it. I think it's maybe it's resurging.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Live at Freak Valley records. I love
That's true.
A venue or a festival saying like, we're gonna produce live records out of this, so let's just capture good audio and make sure we can make something out of it.
Yeah.
But no, like I think MTV kind of killed
Live.
the live album a little bit because they're showing concert footage and you
Mhm.
got music videos, and that all kind of filled that gap. It became like I can't think of.
Or maybe it just all actually did sort of go to video.
Yeah, like there's no what's the great live Metallica record? Like when we go post UFO and Priest and proto metal, new wave of British heavy metal, and we get into the 80s. Who are there any seminal live records that you can think of in rock and roll? I can't really think of any.
I can think of some bad ones.
Yeah.
I would think that I don't think there's a seminal Metallica live record.
No.
I would go S&M, but that's a whole
S&M.
different world.
Oh, the preparation that went into recording that is, live, quote unquote,
Right.
but not really live.
So interesting.
Yeah. It just sort of died off as a thing. It was very much a thing in the 70s. Like
Because I grew up with live records, and I think you're right. A lot of what you're saying is, growing up in the suburbs, I didn't always have access to go see a lot of these bands, and there was no MTV. You got your pictures of the band from Cream Magazine or Hit Parader, or Circus, and right, and those were the magazines. I have a bunch of Creams around here somewhere.
Yep.
So to get the live record, it was the band, and you had
Yeah.
pictures of the band. Again, go back to Kiss Alive, and you open it up, and you got that spread, and they're in makeup, and they're being levitated, and there's flames, and I'm 12, and I'm going, wow,
Yeah.
this is not Cat Stevens,
Yeah.
No.
but now I think you're right. I've put out live records through Ripple, and across the board, and I'll still do it. Across the board, they're almost always the worst selling records.
They're low sellers. Yeah.
Even Stone Axe live at Roadburn or 8 Machine live at Freak Valley, not big sellers.
Yeah.
I put them out because I like it.
I think we're in the minority. I don't think that your opinion is unpopular. I just think it's wrong.
Thanks. I think I have a lot of those.
Is there a great would you okay, here we go. I'm gonna throw you a fucking curveball. A really well done live Tool record. You think there's something magical about what it's like to hear them play? He loves Tool.
I do love Tool. I am a fanboy. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've watched the
I want to see it though. I think that's the thing and that's why I do like watching live videos because I get to see the band. I get to see them perform it.
There was no widely distributed concert video.
Yeah.
Until the 80s. And then after that we could see it. So you don't want to hear it and not see it. I think that's got to be it.
I don't know. That's interesting you say that because I will listen to live albums all the time.
Yeah.
If there's a new live record, like name it, the new Moss Generator or whatever, they put out a live record, I'll listen to it. Fu Manchu, I'll listen to it. Whatever band you want to talk about. But I will not watch their DVD of a live show.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't have, it doesn't interest me as much because I feel separated because then I'm not there. Then I know I'm seeing this through cameramen.
Yeah.
Huh.
That makes sense.
And the angles that they're choosing for me to see at that moment. Whereas if I'm listening to it, the music is just all around me and the rest of it's in my mind.
You can imagine being there. I love both. So I'll go either way. I'm flexible.
Go either way.
Oh, I mean, there are bands that I used to be deeply in love with the band Muse, but the only way I consumed Muse was watching live performances of Muse because you have to see it's, and I think it's probably a similar thing to Rush if there's really good video to go along with. You have to really wrap your head around that's 3 people. And listen to what you're hearing.
Yeah.
And that's 3 people on that stage. a giant stage with 80,000 people around them making that shit with nothing but, you know, the instruments in their hands. And maybe Muse used backing tracks, but at least we know Rush didn't use. There were backing tracks did not exist. So if you heard a sound, somebody was actively making it.
Somebody made that sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the process now of live bands using pre-recorded tracks?
Oh.
Now, I'm not
Don't
talking
get them
about
started.
I'm not talking about going out there and just lip syncing, because we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But what
There
about
are-
backing vocals or
There are
recorded
levels.
music?
There
Yeah.
are levels, right? I get why bands do backing vocals or harmonies. I can even buy like an extra guitar track here or there. But at some point, I think there needs to just be some honesty about what you can produce on the stage versus what you recorded. Like we went into the studio, we recorded. Billy added a bunch of random shit underneath, sound beds. Like he'll hit a like a low piano string with a hammer and record it to accent a bass note, just to get like an extra ring in there. And he'll lay in just beds of weird sound. I had him give me samples of all of that stuff, and none of it's in time, right? So we don't have to play to a click. We don't have to have in-ears, but I can trigger it at the right time to just add a layer of ambience. But
Right.
And I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with even with some other stuff. But when a band walks on stage with one guitar player and I hear 5 guitar tracks, I'm annoyed.
Right.
Like that, to me, that's where I draw the line. Or one guy singing and I hear 6 vocals and they're not like auto-generated harmonies. They're actually like pre-recorded on the click. And I'm just like, and if the singer stops singing and I hear the primary vocal in the PA, then I'm done. I don't care. Like, that's it.
There's a lot of that at Swan Fest.
You know, the way that you were describing what you do, it's really another instrument that's being added to the live show.
Correct.
What I don't like about anything pre-recorded, even if it's a harmony vocal, and this is purely in my head, and I know it's completely separate from the reality of what's happening, but it takes away from me any of the spontaneity of the music being created on stage.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be done at it's planned this way. Now, I know bands plan it all out. But there's the thing about the live is that you never know what's going to happen next. And I don't want to hear a live song that sounds just like the studio song. I want the live song that they're fucking with.
Yeah.
You know, they're throwing in, Day Tripper as a break or something. That's what's interesting to me.
Yep.
And if it's pre-recorded something, then there can be no spontaneity in that song.
Yeah, the second you've got a click running so that you stay in time with whatever backing tracks are going, you kind of lost me, because there's no opportunity for anything weird to happen. Exactly the same. We write songs that have solo breaks that we don't count, that end when Carl gives me a look, right? Like
A look.
no shit. And the hard thing is not playing it live. The hard thing is recording it in the studio, because we actually have to decide how long is this going to be and how long is it going to play for. So it's almost like a reverse situation where it's just like, oh, fuck, man, I don't know how many times we play this. Maybe it's 30, maybe it's 15. I don't know. It's whatever Carl's feeling in the room that day. Some day he solos and it's like we're done in 8 bars, and some days it's 30. And so we never figure it out until we go to the studio. And then we're like, I guess we got to settle on how long this is going to be so we can actually record it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not everyone. You and I are not everyone, though, for sure. That is not what everybody is looking for in the music.
And nobody wants to be me, so I'm open.
Yeah,
but I mean, the way you're describing it, though, that's jazz. You got the leader, and he's looking at somebody who then will go off and create something. And so you're talking about live music, which is a spontaneous creation, and that's the excitement of it.
Yeah. I think so too. It is for me, and I love when I go and see a song live and it totally violates my expectations. Like, oh, whoa, they did that. That's not like the recording at all, and I light up instead of going, well, that's not like the recording at all. Sometimes it's bad.
That's not how it's supposed to sound.
Sometimes it's bad, but more often than not, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Right. Well, just to go back to the last show that we were together at, when Lowcaster had their album release party.
Yeah.
And Susie came up on stage.
Yeah.
And she sang just the one song with them. That moment, that capsulated moment, was magic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For
And
sure.
I would love to have had a recording of that because it was just, I loved it. And that's not something she would play it on the record, but it was different. Live, it was just so much more encompassing for me.
Do you know that through this podcast, we have connected Susie to at least 2 other bands where she has also added
some vocals.
small parts and vocals too?
Nice. I'm kind of bummed. I'm going to miss, I'm flying down tomorrow night to Los Angeles to go to the Cruel World Festival.
Yeah.
You're talking about my DJing days, and that's, I was a DJ from 81 to 85. So this festival is right up my alley. And, but it's a strange festival because it's a 2-day festival, but it's the same bands and the same set order on both days. So really, Saturday and Sunday are the same shows. It's sold out, so they just did it again.
They did a second day.
So it's just a second night.
It's like when we were young. I mean, I guess that means you can like go to the bathroom on day 1 or go get lunch and miss a set and then catch it on day 2. But it feels weird.
Hell, in truth, that would make things a lot easier because you always have 3 stages and you have the brackets that just aren't going to line up. Like I'm talking to my wife right now. We've always wanted to see Devo, never seen Devo. We've always wanted to see Berlin, never seen Berlin. They're playing exactly the exact.
Oh, there you go.
Of course.
Problem solved.
So, yeah, but except I won't be there on Sunday.
Problem not solved.
But the point is that Susie's going to be there on Sunday, so I'm going to miss seeing her down there.
Oh, she's hauling ass back from New York to go to that on Sunday because they played Desert Fest New York on Saturday.
She must be flying. Yeah, she must be flying the red eye.
I think Finney was going with her.
Oh, Anne's gone.
So,
sorry, this is deep inside baseball, people.
Inside baseball. Sorry, people. Bunch of names. Well, no, people will recognize Susie because she's been on the show 3 times.
Yeah. Since the last time we recorded, Psycho Las Vegas announced the full lineup.
125 bands.
125 bands. Are you going? Are we gonna see?
I'm going to try to go. I know you guys are going.
Yes.
The problem I have is simply time out of the office.
Yeah.
So what I wind up doing is flying out Friday night, going to the show Saturday, but then getting up early on Sunday to fly home because I don't want to fly home late on Sunday with my day job on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those.
If I was one of your patients, I would not want you doing that either.
and I operate on Mondays, so I get very protective of my Sunday. So I wind up going out there just for Saturday.
Yeah, that's a little
bit
rough.
Which I've done the last 2 shows. It's just that I spent 2 weeks. It's time out of the office. It all comes down to
Yeah, completely. I mean, 125 bands. But let's talk about Ripple Fest this year.
Oh,
holy shit!
Yeah,
talk about a lineup.
You're not fucking around.
What happened there? I mean,
let's please put everything into perspective. I have nothing to do with that. I'm not taking the credit.
You're like, you can use my name.
No, this is Ryan from High Desert Queen, who put out their first record on Ripple in October of 2021. And he's got his little production company called Lick My Spoon Productions. And he did the first Ripple Fest in Texas last year, which was a 1-day show, and it was like 13 or 14 bands, and it was a ton of fun. Venue wasn't optimal, so he didn't go from like, okay, I've done 1 show, let's now do something bigger. It's like, I've done 1 show, now Crowbar's coming. It's like, we got the Sword over here, and I'm all, dude, what? How are you doing all this? He runs it all by me, but he's the man. I definitely go for the ride.
That's crazy.
But he's doing an amazing job with that. Are you guys going to go? You have a chance?
It's in July, right?
Yeah.
I think it's July. Yeah. I mean, I am eyeing it like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to we got family vacation
I
here.
think it's,
we got Psycho here. We got like.
I think it's
like,
during my
summer
family vacation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I am going to attempt to because the lineup is insane. It's so good.
The lineup's insane, and I love it. It's it's branched out again beyond Ripple.
Yeah,
because even though it's called Ripple Fest, it's not supposed to be. It's just at first it's easy to get your own bands together. The first Ripple Fest happened because we had Moss Generator was in town, and so we had Zed and Black Wolf play together. We go, hey, it's Ripple Fest, it was the Golden Bull. It was 3 bands,
Yeah.
But really, it was just a spontaneous sort of thing. In fact, I have the poster right there.
Oh, nice.
Friday, March 27th, 9 p.m. was $10 at the Golden Bull.
Nice.
But now that it's kind of encompassing kind of a life of its own, because we just had our first Ripple Fence France in March.
Right,
You went
that's
out
right.
for that too, right?
I did. That was amazing. I can't go to all the Ripple Fests.
Yeah.
We have one coming in Berlin and Cologne and Stockholm. I'm not going to make all of
It's
it,
like you're
but-
franchising these things.
Oh, it's you know what it is, and I'm not trying to be mushy. It's the bands.
Yeah.
It's the whole Ripple people. It's the vibe. They love it. They love the whole vibe of what's going on with Ripple. It's the family, and so they want to put these things on. And then they talk to me about it. Hey, can we do a Ripple Fest here? And I'm, of course. I never claim to be the one who organizes these things. I kind of organized the France one, but even a band made that happen. A band came to me, Stonebirds, who are from Nantes, said, hey, I know a great venue in Nantes for a Ripple Fest. Do you want to do one? Yeah. Of course, why not?
Do I just have to show up?
Well,
yeah.
Well, and I mean, this speaks to what we keep finding over and over again, is that there are very few bands in the scene that are just bands. Like, someone's a promoter, someone's an engineer, somebody does live sound, somebody's a graphic designer. And so within the bands, you have all these capabilities beyond just making the music.
Such as yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Such as us. I mean, and so it's like, if you want something to happen, sometimes you just have to make it, because nobody's gonna ask you. If it's the rare band that gets to play the chapel at Roadburn for their very first show.
That's the rare band.
Most of us have to book our first show.
Yeah, but I mean, now
to play with and
I'm talking to the guys who know all about this, because Heavy San Jose, you guys have booked some fucking amazing shows down in the South Bay, and it's what the area needs to get people with your passion and your motivation to make these type of shows happen.
Yep.
And it takes a ton of time, and there's financial risk, and the whole kit and caboodle. I mean, the first show I ever was really trying to create was the Ripple 10-year anniversary show, and we all saw how that happened.
Not your fault.
I mean, there was a pandemic.
Not your fault.
What you may not know is that I didn't give up easily. I decided, okay, I can't do it for the 10-year. I'll do it in 2021. This is going to be called, since it's now the 11 year, we're going to be called the Ripple Crank Up to 11 Motherfucker Show. But that didn't happen. So
Yeah,
I need people like you to do it. It's not my forte.
Yeah, exactly.
it is a lot of work. We actually practiced today, and a guy came in who was like he was on the mic for the first Beers in Hell. Sean, he was the guy who was yelling, and he helped us organize a bunch of stuff. He's like, hey, when are you guys going to do another one? I'm about to come into a bunch of money. What if I just wanted to do one? What? And I was like, well, I can walk you through it if you want. Like, we're on a pause for now because there's, lots of other stuff going on, but I can walk you through it. And he's like, because that was just so fun. And I was like, here's what you need to understand. If you're in charge, it's not going to be that fun.
Yeah.
You worry.
Yeah,
You
it's
worry.
fun to attend.
Yes. You're going to be like, I was like, you're going to be like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. And they're like, it's time to play. And you're like, I go on stage for 30 minutes. I play. Oh, now I got it. It's like, there's
now I got to get this band on and this band on. I got to pay this band. I got to make sure this band shows up. Yeah.
Like walking upstairs with you to have a sip of mead, like the 5 minutes we spent doing that was like the 5 minutes of downtime that I had.
I forgot about that. That's right.
In like a 14-hour day of busting ass at Johnny B's.
Awesome.
And I got to be honest with you, I was just about to comment that, how much I appreciate busting your ass to take that time, because my overwhelming memories of the first Beers in Hell, first of all, the cool venue, which regrettably was shut down.
Is gone. Yes.
But I remember the stage, the amps falling off the stage. When
That's right.
Yeah, was it Mark that was down there holding it up?
Yeah, Mark from Zed was like back behind the stage holding the amps up so that they wouldn't fall off.
Was that Red Wizard playing? I think remember.
So. Yeah, I think that was during the Red Wizard set.
And going upstairs and having mead. And it was like there's this show going on downstairs and we're just upstairs having a little mead. And that's like the coolest thing. And now because of you, I have like 4 bottles of mead downstairs in my kitchen right now.
There we go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if you're listening and you've ever thought about putting on a festival, just understand that there might be a moment when you're on a second floor mezzanine that's barely habitable, drinking mead with Todd while Mark from Zed is keeping the amps from falling off the stage. And you're going to pay out all the bands and have enough money to cover your costs and maybe $100. And in the end, it'll be one of the best weekends of your life. But there will be moments of it where you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Why did we do this?
Why did we do this to ourselves? And then
So when is Beers in Hell coming back?
Oh boy, we'll have to see. I don't
The
know.
second one was in Pacifica, right?
at Winters in Pacifica.
And the third one was
At the X Bar. I'll do it again. I think it's going to come down to like fewer but more special events.
Yeah,
I think is really what it's going to come down to.
I think we need to do a Blynd Subs Fest is what we need.
Seriously.
Dude.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
and I mean, we have connected with some much more superpowered bands and people
And promoters and
doing this
everybody.
podcast. So we're just putting friends into our pocket, and then one day we'll go, "Hey, friend, do you remember?"
Dude, get Moontooth to headline it.
See that?
And they will. And
Yes.
like we had Chris Enriquez, who is the brand integration manager for Project M, which is Revolver and Brooklyn Vegan and the Hard Times. And Chris knows everyone. And Chris used to work at St. Vitus. And it's just like, all right, let's pull these people together that we've met, and then let's do something
special.
really special. I think that's really what it's going to come down to.
I think that's killer.
Yeah.
Will it be Beers in Hell or?
I don't know. We'll have to.
I mean, maybe the next Beers in Hell is at Sam's place, Sam and Michelle's.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, we made a friend through the podcast who runs a brewery in Lincoln, Nebraska that has venue space in it. Who's also friends with everyone and just a lover of the scene, and not
Cool.
he doesn't play in a band. He's not, but he's an interested party, and so I don't know. That's actually kind of.
I think it'd be amazing. Let's do Beers in Hell in Lincoln, Nebraska.
In Lincoln, Nebraska, at Cosmic Eye Brewing.
Yep.
Nice.
That'd be amazing.
All right.
Nice.
Should we listen to music?
Ugh, I guess so.
Do we still
Have I waylaid the show? I apologize.
I naively thought
No, it's been great.
oh, we know each other. We won't have that much to talk about. But unfortunately, like we have.
But it's been like 2 years.
I love
so.
talking to you guys. It's been too long.
I know.
I know.
For sure.
Completely.
All right. We would be shortchanging the bands if we didn't
Yes.
listen to them.
You can't shortchange the bands.
So, the general rule here is this is a positive situation. We're not trying to destroy anybody or tear anybody down. If you don't like something, you're free to say whatever you want. But if what you want to say is this is just not for me, that's totally fine. And we have gotten shockingly few like truly terrible submissions. There's so many good bands out. People are submitting music to you all the time. This is not a new situation for you. So you kind of know how to deal with it, and I've dealt with you, and I know you're very diplomatic. So we just listen and like what pops out about why we would keep listening. What do we think of the album art? Like how do they present themselves on their Bandcamp page? I think is a really interesting topic. What's the description of the band, and what does that mean? How do people grab onto that stuff? I think you have some pretty unique insight here. So
yeah, I mean, I think too, I would love to know from you, because like Jeff said, you get submissions all the time. I mean, what catches your ear? At what point do you decide, nope, that's not going to work.
that's not for Ripple.
I mean,
that's
yeah,
not
exactly.
for Rebel Wave. So, all right, the first band is called Vexes.
Vexes.
From Asbury Park, New Jersey. That's some big shoes to fill, that Springsteen land right there, right?
Ooh, I don't think this is going to be Springsteen-like, but
All right. So here are the fine gentlemen of Vexes. This is totally how I would do a band photo. Like, please put me in silhouette. Like the less detail they can see, the better.
I don't know. I mean, you can still tell that one of those guys has no hair.
But I like that photo. It evokes a mood.
I do too.
know?
It's dynamic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we going to get some post-metal? Is this going to be post-metal?
I don't know. They got things to say. I mean, this album cover, so it's a grenade, but the body of the grenade is made out of
Like
a keyboard.
Keyboard.
So someone's got something to say about people throwing grenades online,
All right.
which I do too.
Smart. All right. Let's check out Vexes.
course.
Oh, you want to? Okay.
I'll let JD go
I like
first.
this. I mean, you
this is
probably,
up- this
no
is-
surprise.
this
This
is
is my
up J-
jam.
up
This is
JD's
right
alley.
up my alley. I really like it a lot. I was kind of worried because I was thinking, okay, are we going to get good cop, bad cop going on here? And I mean, in a way, but not really. It was
Not
the
really.
same singer. He just got a little, I love this. I love that driving bass.
Yeah.
Like, I love it when the bass drives the song. I'm not saying that just because, but I love it. That's my jam. What do you think, Todd?
Todd? It's probably
Yeah,
not you.
I was pleasantly surprised. I like the dynamics to it. It definitely had the groove that drove the whole thing. I definitely liked the softer vocal as the contrast to the heavier music when it started.
Mm-hmm.
Although I was going to get tired of that soft vocal if it didn't have a
Change,
big
yeah,
dynamic
yeah.
change. And so I was really happy during the bridge when he did, and he had a great change. I actually, at that point, would have thought a good death growl would have been even more powerful.
Yeah, he could have
Yeah,
pushed
yeah,
it
yeah.
even farther. And that's why I
Right.
wanted to hear the chorus, because I wanted to see if there was like a soaring vocal too. If there were three voices in play, like that soft vocal, a little bit something gritty, and then something kind of soaring. This is like if the Deftones had a good singer.
Yeah, I thought there was traces of Linkin Park in there, a little bit of Chester Bennington with the softer and then his type of a heavier vocal that he get into.
Yeah, I mean,
I liked it.
If you slowed that
I liked it a lot.
that song down, I hear, I watched a change
Yeah.
in you. that like circular bass line. There were some really interesting chord change choices in the verse parts that were like unexpected, which always lights me up.
Yeah.
Like you think you're hearing a progression that and then they pick a chord at the end that doesn't resolve the way you expect it. There were some really good choices, and it's super pro. Not my favorite bass tone. This is probably a dark glass, microtubes. There's like a formula, just like every band at Ripple Fest is going to play through an Ampeg SVT. In this world, every band plays through the same dark glass preamp or pedal or amplifier, and it's just it's the sound of modern heavy bass. It's not for me, but it didn't like wreck the song or anything.
I really like that album cover, though. It speaks
It's
to the power of words, and how hurtful words can be and how much
Yep.
damage words could do.
Yep.
I like it.
Damn,
Yep.
Look at you.
Not and I interpret a keyboard as not just words, but as words in the great wild internet.
Comments.
I thought it was interesting. The Low Choices is the second single from our upcoming double album, Imagine What We Could Destroy If Only Given the Time.
Right.
Which is like, oh God, it's so true.
Seriously.
And it feels so inevitable, but it's like we're gonna run out of time because we're all focused on the wrong problem. Like we'll ruin it ourselves, but it's already deeply in motion. We're screwed anyways. Like that deep despair. But no, I thought it was good. I like that.
Yeah, it's really good. Should we listen to any more, or should we just?
No,
move on?
I say we
Okay.
rapid fire 3. So let's
Rapid fire 3.
Let's
okay.
do 2 more, and then you don't have surgeries tomorrow. Do you?
No, I don't.
If you don't know, Todd is a prominent eye surgeon in the Bay Area. So this is just Ripple.
Wait,
and
what? You mean you're not just a label owner?
I mean, the output
I'm
is,
fond of eating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You want to, buy food and
Yeah, fond of
put
eating.
put gas in your car.
Sleeping in a bed.
All right. So I'll let you pick of the ones that we have left. What are you most interested in hearing, JD?
I don't know. I mean, let's do Sundown.
Okay. I was really curious about this when I saw the band photo. So let's
Sundown?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like I'm just really enjoying the.
What is that's amazing.
I mean, look at the band profile picture on Bandcamp when you get a chance. I'm just enjoying the lack of fucks.
Yeah.
It's like, we're on the median. There's a cemetery. I lost my shirt. My sleeves are too
I
short.
lost my shirt.
Just deal with it.
Oh my God.
This is
Oh, poor guy. I hope he finds his shirt. Jesus. Okay.
all right.
Here we go. This song is called Searching. Let me make sure that's the right song. No. We're looking for Searching. Okay, Searching. Here we go.
All right. You're in control there, Buster.
I know. I was trying to scroll back up. I was reading stuff.
All right. So I'll kick this one off because this
Go
is
for it,
not
Jeff.
normally for me.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah?
This is the kind of like punk and hardcore that I like.
Nice. This is it's very I love this. I mean, I immediately when I listened to this heard Hot Water Music, which is fucking incredible, and then I was reading and I'm like,
right,
oh, okay, so influenced by Hot Water Music.
Yeah. I definitely heard Jawbreaker in there too.
Yes. This is so up my alley. I love this. It's like hardcore music for old guys. We don't like to pit anymore, but we still love to get up and like sing along and shake our fists in the air. I love it.
I still am annoyed by the man.
The man.
I have an issue with the man like these guys do, but like in a more grown-up way.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll write an email. You know,
I am very upset with you.
I knew they were from
Dear Senator Smith.
We know what senator we don't like. I knew they were from the Midwest. That was not even not even in question.
Yes.
I liked it right away. It had a great driving beat to get things going. It's I mean they're talking about emo, and I didn't hear emo, and
I didn't hear emo.
I didn't even really, to me, this isn't hardcore punk. This was just gunmetal rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, this is just spit and grime rock and roll. You know, I love the singer because he's not a singer and he's not pretending to be a singer, but he's got a certain character to his voice that is perfect for their music.
Yeah. And they had somebody doing backups with some melody to kind of anchor it. I actually really like that. I don't mind the tuneless yell, but give me like a little melody sometimes.
Right.
Like in a backup, that was cool. And I mean, they said this is what our influences are, but we think it actually ended up sounding like Bane, Sunny Day Real Estate, Quicksand, and the Pixies. To me, the Pixies jumped out right away as like, oh yeah, this reminds me of listening to the Pixies when I was in high school.
Just a little angrier Pixies. Yeah, completely.
A little faster sometimes.
Yeah, Frank Black on a bad day.
You put that on for the first 30 minutes of your road trip, you know, you're doing 85 miles an hour before you know it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I do. If you look down at the thing where it has the band list, everybody is vocals.
Yeah,
guitar vocals, bass vocals, drums, vocals.
It's gang vocals all day.
I really like that. I'm gonna, I like that a lot.
Add that to your cart.
I'm gonna add that to my cart. I'm gonna follow this band, and then I'm gonna add that to my cart because I really.
We'll call that Midwest Oi.
There you go. All right, so I'm gonna give you a choice. You get to pick one of these three. I'm gonna give you band names: Slow Torch, and this is for Todd, Shadows Taller Than Souls, or Easy Sleeper. As an alt, I'll let you look at the covers if you want.
Okay,
do covers.
Oh man, this is intense.
So it's the three in the middle. One is named after a lyric from a Zeppelin song, which is like could be great, could be terrible.
Which one?
Right.
Shadows Taller Than Souls.
What song?
And as we wind on down the road,
Oh,
our shadows taller than our souls. There's my singing again. I'm doing a lot of singing in this.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, I didn't catch that. So cheers to you. I really liked Slow Torch when I first heard it, but Shadows Taller Than Souls as the name of the band, I think is really interesting. And then to call it the Doom Punk EP,
Yeah.
I am like totally fucked on what these guys are gonna sound like.
I think I'm with you. What song do they? Oh, you're doing the song.
Yeah, let's see. The song that we're gonna listen to is called Rebirth Death. Okay, Rebirth Death.
Is it
These
a
guys
three-piece?
It looks like a 3-piece from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Damn good garage psych. All right, let's see.
I'm in already.
Yeah, me too.
Here, pause it real quick. Does this song have a guitar solo?
I don't know.
Todd?
It has to.
Guess? You think? Yay, nay? We're just going to play it straight all the way through, or is somebody going to shred?
I'm saying there's no shredding.
No shredding?
No shredding?
All right, give me like...
2/3 way in, right
yeah,
there.
give me like 3 minutes, 250, something like that.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll go to 250.
This is a game that Buddy started. The episode we recorded with him when he literally called it like to the second when the
Call your solo.
Call your solo.
Yeah, it's going to be about 250 for sure.
All right, let's.
If there is one.
Now we went with stronger vocals and a little breakdown.
That's a groove, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it would have been right there.
I'm glad there wasn't. I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you.
Yeah?
No, I'm glad there wasn't.
I didn't think there would be on that one.
Interesting.
And I liked hearing a different gear in the vocals because I was
Mhm.
wondering if we were going to have that kind of like 3 feet away from the mic with lots of reverb the whole time. Or
that
if
was
he-
really cool. I like that.
I did too.
Milwaukee Doom Punk. I
Yeah,
wasn't really in the Doom though.
Yeah.
I'm still flabbergasted by this band because the name of the band and the name of the album and the album art and the sound, it is all completely incongruous.
100%. Which
And I think that was the first time incongruous has ever been used on this podcast.
you know what's funny is it was in my head. I was
Really?
about to go. Totally.
Amazing.
I think I kind of like that at this point, though. At some point, it's like the Saturday Night Live sketch that, like, 3 minutes in, you're like, are they still doing this?
Yeah.
But then by minute 5, you're laughing so hard because you can't believe they had the fortitude to stick it out until it actually became funny. I just think, like, fuck it. We'll just, like, nothing will make sense, and then everything will make
And
sense.
then everything will make sense. Exactly. Exactly.
I dig that one. I mean, I would buy that on vinyl.
Yeah.
Mainly out of curiosity to hear what the other two songs are going to sound like.
I know,
Because
me too.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe
Let's-
we should
Hit play
I
on
dug
one
that
of them.
vibe.
let's hit play.
Yeah, that was a good rhythm section. That was a really deep groove that had a lot of momentum and was like really compelling. That
Yeah.
was
All right, let's check out Crystalline Perceptions or Crystalline Perceptions.
I hope our hopes aren't dashed.
Yeah.
you know.
I like that. They dropped back more into the 60s on this vibe.
Yeah. Surprised they're not playing Psycho.
Really?
Yeah.
The song Psycho, right? Not the Psycho Festival.
No, he's got a ton of 60s like psych bands playing.
So many.
Does he really?
Yeah.
At Psycho? I thought you were talking about the song Psycho by the Sonics.
I like this.
Yeah.
I dig it.
That's really cool.
As we started going through the band list at Psycho and listening to everybody's like, wow, another like kind of 60s garage psych band.
Yeah.
Interesting that's like a whole lane that he's pulled in.
Like Black Angels are playing Psycho this year.
Yeah, Black Angels are good.
I love Black Angels and
Yeah,
the
they're good.
Alalas.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. I don't think you liked them.
They were it
But,
was
yeah.
fine. It was good.
Yeah. I love just that 60s psych sound.
I'd like to see these guys live. I think
Mhm.
there's probably just like a lot of energy and
Totally.
So
Milwaukee.
I'm in Philadelphia, and we're visiting my kid when he lived out there. And of course, we're in a record store. And of course, my wife is being patient while I'm digging through whatever random proto metal underground 70s thing I can find. And the guy puts on Black Angels, and my wife, that's when she came to me.
Yeah,
She
really?
said, so Las Robertas was like her first, this is the band I want to sign. But in truth, it was the Black Angels that hit her. And she said, this is what I want our label to sound like.
That makes sense. That's
And then
awesome.
it became concrete for me too.
Yeah. I love them. I've been listening to them. They're like a lot of times when I work, I know I talk about this all the time. I usually do non-vocal, but like that stuff I can listen to, even though there's vocals, because it's all
just
just
like a
like kind of
drone.
droning. And
Right.
it's just like, it's like good background. Like I love it.
yeah, it doesn't steal focus like a really upfront vocal would.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, nice work. I mean, like you name yourself after a Zeppelin lyric, you're immediately gonna like set a certain kind of expectation, and that can be tough to get over. It's so funny that bands do that, and I love that we're like 4 generations deep of bands naming themselves after bands,
After other bands'
lyrics that
albums.
it's like Inception, that were after another band's lyrics.
And the brilliant thing is that if they sounded like Zeppelin, it would have been the stupidest band name of all time.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But they don't.
No,
Yeah,
it would have been terrible.
And so it's
That's-
awesome.
That's a good lyric that makes
Mhm.
sense for a psych band.
Yeah.
That just happens to come from Zeppelin, who I think is in the DNA of anyone who plays rock music ever from here until the end of time. You can't deny it. It's
Can't
like
deny it.
we learned basic lessons about music, composition, whatever from listening to Zeppelin.
Yeah.
So might as well embrace it. And
Yeah.
there's definitely some psychedelic shit in Zeppelin for
Yep.
sure. They went down that rabbit hole.
They went
And if you put on What Is and What Can Never Be at any moment in time, I will be having a white boy dance freak out.
Yeah, yeah.
It is not pretty, but I will do it.
Yeah, there's a few Zeppelin songs that are so undeniable, but not in the overplayed batch of
Right.
songs, but in the kind of not even deep cuts, but just like second tier radio play cuts that are
Right.
just like I'll never not listen to them if they
Yeah.
come on.
crazy. I have to ask.
He has to.
I don't know if I can't remember. Maybe I've seen this before. Do you listen to music when you're operating?
Yes.
What do you listen to? Do you like? Is it mellow? Is it chill? Or is it just what you normally listen to?
Kind of. Well, I've listened to so much, right? So it's
Yeah.
going to fall into what I normally listen to, realm. But
Yeah, I guess the normally
specifically,
listen to is
yeah. But this, no, my operating playlist is immutable. In other words, I will not let anybody do anything else because it is the perfect playlist on every level for what I do. And it is a pure 1970s funk playlist.
Oh,
It usually
nice.
starts off with Parliament. It goes into Ohio Players, and I'll you can get a little Marvin Gaye or Stevie in there, but Stevie of course gets pretty funky. And I'll tell you why. It might sound strange. Number one, it's very upbeat music. So
Yeah.
because eye surgery is kind of intense. It's all done through the microscope. The lights are off, and a lot of ophthalmologists don't want any music in there. And then the vibe is just like you can hear a pin drop.
yeah.
And I don't like that. I like the operating room to be light and happy. So it's happy music. Second thing is it's all analog. So you don't get any digital tones that can be distracting to me. Like even getting into the 80s funk, if you get Cameo or something, there's a lot of that digital distraction. I don't want to hear that. I just want this really nice analog vibe. Number three, you know it all. You've heard it 1,000 times, which means I don't have to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's there. I got the vibe. You know, if you watch me at certain times, I might be moving a little bit, like if I'm not actually operating at that moment. But when I'm operating, it's there and I'm not listening. If it's new music, if it's anything else, and I don't want to listen to it.
Yeah, it might
I
catch
want
your
it to
attention.
set my environment, and that's all.
Yeah, I think that would be my choice too, honestly.
Yeah?
I mean, I love that stuff. No, you have any Graham Central Station, Brothers
Oh,
Johnson?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
James Brown's Funky People.
James Brown comes on all the time.
Nice.
There's so much good funk out there. I mean, Wild Cherry's even on there because I'm sorry, play that funky music, White Boy is a hell of a good song.
Yeah.
I hear
Patience
funk
on
in your
that.
bass playing, man. You definitely are a funk listener.
Oh, I mean, it was, parallel loves. Listening to funk and then getting into classic rock and then into metal were just all happened at the same time. And here in the Bay Area, they were in the 90s, they were one thing. Like there was an era where there was just funk and metal together, living in harmony.
Right.
And like the good
like
kind.
Funkopus and
Psychofunkopus.
Psychofunkopus, yeah.
I saw them so many times. Fungo Mungo, the Limbo Maniacs, the Blue Chunks. Like this was in the air in 1991.
Right.
That's crazy.
All right, so we have one last question.
Couple last questions.
Well, maybe trim it down.
Trim it down. Trim it down. Jeff has to go to bed.
It's briefs, not boxers.
They're quick. I mean, they're so quick. So
not with someone like Todd, who's a music encyclopedia.
I know it's true. It's true.
I'll be quiet. I'll give you one-word answers.
Or did you move here, or were you actually born and raised here?
I've lived in the Bay Area since I was 6 months old.
Oh,
I was not born here. My dad was in the Air Force. I was born in San Antonio, Texas.
Gotcha.
I moved to San Francisco proper.
All-time favorite hometown band.
Fuck. All-time favorite.
Told you. Please tell me there's some Tower of Power on that playlist.
So Very Hard to Go was one of the very first 45s I ever bought in my life. I don't know. I'm gonna say something really stupid and y'all gonna hate me, but that's okay. I mean, in truth, it's probably Santana because Santana is just brilliant and genius and legendary.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say something really, really stupid, and it's going to be two bands.
No such thing.
One of them is the Greg Kihn Band because he used to play at my high school like every couple months before the big record came out that had the breakup song on it. Yeah, and so I just had a lot of respect for him, and I love that type of power pop.
Yeah, if you lived in the Bay Area, you saw Greg Kihn play at somebody's high school. I did. I mean,
because that's what he did. Yeah, the whole Berserkly Records label, they were all playing. The Rubinoos, they all played at somebody's high school.
So tell me, did you ever get to see the Eric Martin Band play?
Yes.
In any of those shows? Yeah.
I saw Eric Martin Band play. And then Y&T used to play at my high school back when they were Yesterday and Today.
Yep.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna give it up to the hometown boys like that.
Nice. I love it. So is there anything you want to shout out, promote? Is there anything that somebody should be listening to? They finish listening to this amazing episode and then they need to go listen to a band that Todd tells them to listen to,
or an upcoming Ripple release.
Yeah.
I'm blessed with the bands that come to Ripple, and I love them all. And I think that our sound is constantly expanding and diversifying. I'm going to blow all you guys' minds. I'm
glad you added mines to the end of that because that was about to be weird.
Well, it's been a fun show. So. One of my favorite Finnish heavy metal bands is Sentenced.
Sentenced.
Do you guys know Sentenced?
I don't.
No.
Oh, so they're original Century Media.
Nice.
Around the same time as Tiamat and Skin Lab, and Century Media used to put out all these compilations, and that's where I got sentenced. And they have really great songs like "Excuse Me While I Kill Myself" and "The Suicider" and everything you'd want in
Suicider.
Finnish metal. But it's really melodic. It's actually they started out as a death metal band like North from Nowhere, and I'm not as much into their death stuff. It was just more ordinary, but they developed a lot of melody. Anyways, point is, there's a band who's going to be coming out on Ripple that's just going to blow your mind, because I never want people to be too comfortable with what I'm going to do, because I don't want us to be pigeonholed. But it still all comes through my filter. So there's a vibe, but still.
Man.
So they're 19 years old, and they're from Finland, and they're amazing. And it's Finnish metal. It's not death metal. The guy can really sing, but it's not power metal vocals either. Take a listen to "Excuse Me While I Kill Myself" from Sentence, and you'll get a vibe for what these guys are going to sound like.
So somebody like some young kids resurrecting their heroes.
Kind of, except for the point that when I talked to them, they didn't even know who Sentenced was.
Oh,
funny.
They're too young. They don't know them, but there's a familiarity in the guitar tones and in the vocal style. So it just must be in the air of Finland. So their name is Terromania.
Terromania?
They don't have anything out right now. Terromania, Terromania.
Is this a Matt Bacon find?
No. God, no. But I did play it for him, and he kind of freaked out about it. A while back, I found a group of kids called Witcher's Creed. Do you guys remember that record?
Witcher's Creed? That sounds so familiar.
You're talking about submissions. They sent it to me, and they did everything wrong. It was the wrong letter. They did everything wrong.
You're not supposed to tell people to do it wrong. No.
Oh, it was terrible. Everything about their submission was wrong. But I'm such a anal kind of guy. I listen to every submission that comes in.
Oh my God.
And I kept coming back to it. And it's just this really raw proto doom from Sweden. And these kids were 18 years old. We put out the record. It sold out through 2 runs, and the band broke up.
No.
So this is my next set of kids.
Terromania has a Facebook page.
Yep. They have a couple songs on the SoundCloud.
Oh, interesting.
Everything's going to be redone, re-recorded, and
and when is this coming out?
Everything's got to get redone and re-recorded.
So it hasn't been done yet. Okay.
So 2 years. Oh, well, if you're gonna go down that path, I have a band to recommend to you. Some fine young gentlemen in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick one Ripple release to recommend over another one, because I signed them.
Yeah. No, I just meant what's coming next. Like what's the next release that's coming?
Well, the big one we just dropped last Friday was the new Wolfat record. And the Wolfat record hasn't dropped in 6 years. And it happened to drop on Bandcamp Friday. So you want to talk about a freaking spike?
Oh my God.
Yeah, people seem to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got some buzz.
It is not biasedly probably one of their best records ever. People are saying it's at least as good as Black Code. Midnight Cometh was a great record. It didn't quite find as much favor amongst all the Wolfat fans as something like the Black Code. But this one is it's amazing. I mean, and I think part of it had to do with the fact that it was recorded with a different bass player, right? This was when Zach was still playing with the band. And so it's the only Wolfat record that ever had a different bass player than the original. And he had a different drive. The bass is where it's at, man. Bass drives the music. If you listen to most Ripple, the groove is rooted in the bass. That's what I hear. That's why I like the funk, like Jeff does. And the next one coming out is from Sweden, Cities of Mars. It's their 3rd record or 4th record.
I was going to say, I know them.
Yeah. We did their last one. And this is it's a major development for them. I mean, it's a huge progression. They got much more progressive. They got out of the more plodding doom vibe of Swedish doom and really became a much more progressive doom band, kind of like the change that Volcanus went through from their earlier sludgier stuff to, Volcanus is really a prog band now.
Yeah.
And Cities of Mars is doing that same sort of thing. So that's coming out next Friday. So check that one out.
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because like I spent less time practicing. I didn't go back to practice in the little room with everybody until, really like 6 months ago. And they had worked on a bunch of songs without me. And Carl's sort of filling in guitar, their main riffs and stuff. And the process that we're going through right now that I'm written into all the songs, is peeling back all the guitar, like pulling away, cutting out, finding places where he doesn't have to play, because when you're playing a guitar, a singer, and a drummer, and no one's like filling in the primary rhythm, it changes what you can do on guitar.
Right.
And so now it's going from him playing these heavy riffs to him pulling back and doing just a lot more like light accents and little things here and there when you have the bass in there that can drive the song forward. It's been interesting. We've never done it like that before, so it's been interesting to see how these songs change over time as Carl pulls back.
I bet it's going to be a really interesting record.
It's weird.
The band's called Kook, right? So it's got to be a little weird.
Right.
But
It's weird.
I will say, and this is not to blow smoke up your ass or to blow you, but my favorite part of Kook is the bass. I mean, I know the guitar is pretty remarkable, but to me, there's a very strong Primus vibe. There's a Les Claypool in your playing.
Yeah.
The
There's more.
times that I've seen you guys play, I don't focus on the guitar or the drummer or the singer. I always focus on the bass playing.
Yeah, I definitely went farther down that path and focused on a much more rhythmic style, doing a lot of more interesting stuff. And the music's a lot less heavy, if I'm being totally honest, and has a lot of like early rock and roll influences. Carl was deep into going back and listening to Elvis and everything that led to Elvis. So we have these songs that sort of function as almost like what if the Melvins played an Elvis song? Sort of is sort of the kind of the vibe of a lot of what doesn't make any sense at all. It's fine. Like that, we'll always find our audience, but it's been really fun and it's really different. So I'm curious to get into the studio and lay it down.
Melvin's playing an Elvis song. We're talking Stoner Billy here, buddy.
Yeah, right.
I know. We're fucking adjacent. Like I had that description right
So adjacent.
at my fingertips for a reason, because we're deep in it right now.
That's cool. I look forward to hearing it.
And someone came in while we were practicing to buy a shirt, just one of the dudes at the studio. And I was moving the shirt boxes, and literally on top of every one of the boxes, there was just like a little chunk of weed. Like, I was like, why is there weed on everything in this? Like, I can't move a box or move a thing without just finding like a little tiny piece of, it's like they like shred it and it flies over the room and lands everywhere. I don't know what they're doing.
Stop smoking so much weed.
So Stoner Billy. All right.
Stoner Billy.
Stoner Billy. All right. I'm going to think about that.
All right.
Awesome.
This has been amazing. I'm so glad we finally got to catch up.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for joining.
Yes.
It's been awesome for sure.
Are you guys going to make it to Heavy Psych Sounds Fest?
So I would like to go to some of it. We have the first major event that our children missed as part of the pandemic was they're all super into cosplay, and we went to this FanimeCon, which is a big anime and cosplay convention in San Jose. The rescheduled event is the weekend of Heavy Psych Sounds, and we have been sitting on tickets with them for 2 years.
Yeah.
So definitely,
you know how it is.
Some
kids.
Definitely during the daytimes, we're going to be at the convention center in San Jose.
I think it's just going to depend on how much they wore us out.
Yeah. Well, and like,
yes, I'd really like to come up.
Yeah, no, I would like to at least make part of it. I imagine like Saturday we'll go on the early side and then maybe sneak out and head up on Saturday night.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping to do. But
exactly. Yeah.
Sounds like a blast all outside.
Sounds like you'll be there.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. My wife's actually going to be out of town, so I'm a single man. I'm going to come and just listen to some good music.
Nice.
Oh, sounds like fun.
Maybe we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Hope to.
Catch up at the Parkside. All right, Todd.
In real life.
It was good catching up with you again.
Yes.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Enjoy that festival on Saturday. Tell the Violent Femmes I said hi. They don't know me, but I love them. No, actually, I love all the bands on the show.
I can't wait. It's going to be a little 80s freak fest. I want to see Bauhaus. I've seen him by himself as a singer, Peter Murphy.
Yeah.
I've seen David J by himself, but I've never seen Bauhaus. So I'm looking forward to it. But Devo's my number one. I've wanted to see Devo forever.
That would be amazing.
Okay, guys.
All right, have fun.
Take care, Todd.
Thanks, man.
Later, Todd.
See ya.
I don't know why I deluded myself
That
into
was good.
thinking that's not exactly what was going to happen, but
Yeah.
I know better.
Oh yeah, we know Todd. We don't have that much to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah. No.
Todd and I have already talked about all this stuff. Yeah. No, he's a good.
That was
He
great.
truly is a really good guy. And
You know, it's like and like you said, I love it when we get guests on that just love music
Yeah.
and love discovering new music and love digging in, you know?
yeah, and the amount of time and sweat and money he has poured into.
Yeah.
You know, he's an eye surgeon. He's he's got a good job. He's another one of those guys who's like, cool. I've managed to make some progress. What are the things I want to support now?
Yeah.
What can I be a patron of?
He started a label because he loves music.
Yep.
Exactly.
Awesome. I'm out of words. My ass hurts. It's time to go to bed. So I think I don't have any other thoughts. Do you have any parting thoughts?
Congratulations to the winner of our record
Yes.
giveaway. We don't know who it is
Yes.
yet. But no.
You did a great job writing a comment and or subscribing.
And I will say, I was going to also say, the new Moon Tooth comes out on Friday, but actually
Came
it was
out?
last Friday. It came out on Friday. So go pick that up because that is kind of the reason this whole show started.
Yeah. Buy a copy on vinyl before they're all gone.
Yes, exactly.
And then
go see them live,
And tell them they need to press the Chroma Paragon on vinyl too.
please. Yeah,
Because I need a copy.
me too.
All right, everybody.
This has been another episode of
Blynd Submyshynz.
Blynd Submyshynz.
And we are out.
We are.
Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for the links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying their music and merch. Share links to the podcast with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands! If you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit one song to blyndSub@gmail.com. That's BLYND sub@gmail.com. Bandcamp's linked preferred, but not required. Find us on our social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we going blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
It's Blynd Submyshynz with Jeff and JD, Jeff and JD, JD and Jeff, JD and Jeff. Blynd Submyshynz with Jeff and JD, Jeff and JD, JD and Jeff, JD and Jeff.